Wakulla Springs is one of the largest freshwater cave systems in the world. It's estimated and actually measured. It fluctuates, but an average we refer to as about 240 to 250 million gallons of water a day come up from the earth through the spring.
SciGirls are learning how water moves. During the course of their camp, they visit where water enters the aquifer and where it comes out.
It's a little fun, 'cause we're going to Wakulla.
The girls are so interested and excited. It's a nice break from the regular routine of the school year.
So they're not seeing science with the pressure of like a teaching curriculum attached to it. They get to see it put into practice and how it could potentially relate to them.
On day one of their camp, they played WFSU's Water Moves game.
The goal is for teams to move water from the central water source, or the aquifer, to their buckets, which can represent people's homes. The game involved a little bit of engineering, and the teams earned points by solving puzzles on the water cycle and water distribution system. Teamwork and innovation win the game.
Afterwards, they watched our Water Moves video, which illustrates how water flows through urban Tallahassee to Wakulla Springs via the Munson system.
The Munson system, they've done dye traces to indicate that it drains underground to the Wakulla system.
You know, this is a beautiful lake, and you hear a lot of things that Lake Munson is awful. It's got all these issues that nobody can fix, and I do think it can be fixed. It's just a question of the will to do so.
Leon County's most compromised lake flows into here.
Later we're going to be doing a boat tour, and we're going to see the whole river and the springs actually, and we're going to see all the wildlife and all the fun stuff. Just hanging out with our friends and having fun swimming together.
The SciGirls didn't exclusively learn from scientists during their camp.
I fell in love with it when I came to a general membership meeting and found out that they let volunteers do this and train them. And I took about a 4-month training to learn about the river and about all the critters here on the river. And I've been driving now for about 2.5 years. Folks, we are now drifting on the Wakulla River. This river was named way back when by the earliest settlers. Translation probably meant something like mysterious waters. What's so mysterious about a river? Looks pretty cool to me. What they couldn't figure out is where the water came from. You notice the river just starts.
The water comes from many sources.
Some estimates and some measurements have actually found part of our spring shed begins as far north as Albany, Georgia. So it's really a massive spring shed, and so everything that goes on within that spring shed affects the quality and quantity of the water here.
In Water Moves, the tub could also represent sinkholes. The many devices built by the girls could be the aquifer, and the buckets could be the springs. In North Leon County, large lakes containing sinkholes feed the aquifer. In Wakulla and South Leon, the limestone storing the water is less protected and the land is pockmarked with sinkholes. These sinks allow water to enter the aquifer more freely, but they are south of Tallahassee in its urban runoff.
We know that our modern system of living is directly impinging upon that ecosystem.
We had a couple invasive plants, hydrilla you're probably familiar with. Well, we've almost eliminated that, both by mechanical means and chemical means, but the most important, most effective way that's happened is by the expansion of the manatee population. And they've pretty much eliminated the hydrilla from our spring run, which is a wonderful thing. But in doing that, it affected some invertebrates that might have taken refuge in the hydrilla. So certain types of ducks right now aren't as prevalent as they were before, but as the system regains its natural health, all those species will come back again.
The Howard T. Odom Florida Springs Institute recently released their Wakulla Spring Restoration Plan. The report acknowledges that the exact relationship between increased nitrogen in Wakulla Spring and invasive hydrilla has not been determined, but also suggests a link between chemicals used to treat hydrilla and the loss of invertebrate species. Hydrilla is suspected to have contributed to the disappearance of the limpkin from Wakulla Springs. There are many challenges, but Wakulla Springs is still a vibrant ecosystem with a large community fighting for it. Some progress has been made.
Stormwater improvements are happening upstream, so there's more plans to do more ponds. The Capital Cascades project, that has something to do, has obviously a lot to do with what's going on in downtown Tallahassee. So we're working with those folks, and hopefully we'll come up with some solutions.
Cascades Park won't fix all of Wakulla Springs' problems, but it is filtering nutrients from Tallahassee runoff. That means steer clear of its pond water.
We just think it's a special place. It'll provide folks with a sense of place.
For more information on visiting Edward Ball Wakulla Springs State Park, visit floridastateparks.org/Wakulla Springs. To read the full Wakulla Spring Restoration Plan, visit floridaspringinstitute.org. Stay tuned this fall as we further explore the spring shed and how water moves within it. For WFSU, I'm Rob Diaz, the Viegas.